everyone, this is Sibel Edmonds. This will be a brief presentation on the sham called The War on Terror and the involved costs in terms of scales and methods, dollars, and lives. In 2011, the price tag for the US War on Terror sham was put over $3 trillion. The final tally of the wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan will reach at least $3.7 trillion and could go as high as $4.4 trillion. In response to that report, in August 2011, I wrote this article at Boiling Frog's Post. During the first 10 years after 9/11, in a massive and many-fronted war advertised as War on Terror, U.S. taxpayers spent around $3 trillion. During the last 10 years of the Cold War, the period of our heightened expenditures against the war marketed as a war against communism, we spent less than that. We had the Soviet military with over 5 million men. We were dealing with long-range ballistic missile capabilities. We had an empire with a declared arsenal of 39,967 tons of chemical weapons. We were faced with massive nuclear arsenals and warheads, sophisticated fighter aircrafts, tanks, and more. All that, and of course, the added fear propaganda and jazzed up other threats to go with it. My point here is not how scary an adversary the USSR was to the United States. Here is what I want you to do. Take into perspective and compare the size, budget, militaristic, and technological capabilities and the vast power of our former adversary, the USSR, to the current alleged terrorist adversary, Al-Qaeda, whom we have supposedly been fighting for 10 years. Let me illustrate it more vividly. Here we go. Think of desert nations where camels are the most sophisticated war vehicles. Think Yemen, Iraq, etc. Then, take a look at what is being used to fight and counter the dress-wearing desert soldiers on camels. Pay attention to how much a camel tank costs. One camel costs 36 goats or sheep. In terms of US dollars, $700 max. Then, register the cost of our tanks sent to counter their camels. The upgrade of these tanks alone costs over $120 million. Now, let's talk about donkeys. Yep, you heard me right, donkeys. Donkeys are the Afghan helicopter, used for surveillance and transportation as well as carrying supplies. And we use these to counter those darn donkeys. That's right, folks, DD program, drones against donkeys. Let's not forget cost comparison, okay? Good, healthy donkeys cost $200 max in Afghanistan. Each drone costs a minimum of $12 million per unit to go against the terrorists' donkeys. Now it's time to talk about communications. We can't leave out wartime communications and the required intercept programs. Here is the wartime terrorist soldiers' communication method, tried and true for centuries, at the cost of maximum $15 per trained carrier pigeon. And to counter those flea-ridden pigeons, this is what we use, costing us billions of dollars a year. Here in this article, they meant pigeons, not cell phones. And a little bit on bombs, because we hear that word, bombs, every day. Bombs, bombs, bombs. Since 9/11, we've been hearing it daily, hourly. So let's not leave out bombs, okay? They make and use homemade bombs that costs about $30 per unit. For their $30 homemade bombs a pop, we have dropped 1,600 bombs in Syria and Iraq in 1 month alone at a cost of $8.5 million a day. And here is one final and most significant comparison. Comparison in terms of costs in lives. Published in March by Physicians for Social Responsibility, this study conducted by a team that included some Nobel Prize winners, determined that at least 1.3 million civilians have died as a result of our war since September 11, 2001. But the real figure might be as high as 2 million. When we total these numbers, less than 5,000 terrorism-related deaths in US and Europe combined, including 9/11 deaths, and assuming they were implemented by Middle Eastern terrorists, right? 2 million civilian deaths for 5,000 Western civilian deaths. Does this make sense to you? Does it make sense as far as the trillions of dollars you have been made to pay for this? What are we talking about here? A massive, never-ending war against a fantastical network of technologically and militaristically dwarfed terrorists. Don't you see who wins in this synthetically created perpetual war? This is Sibel Edmonds. I'll be back with more soon.